name is Mary Govarts, and I'm the program coordinator for the Makerspace at Cabrillo College. The Makerspace was funded by a grant by the Chancellor's office. There was 24 colleges that were funded by the CCC Maker, and it's a 2-year grant. This is our first year, and we opened this other space to allow students, faculty, and staff during the hours of 10 to 4 to be in the space and use it and do class-related projects. And as you were speaking to the Holding the Future Club, that was part of what we wanted to do for the actual Cabrillo community, the students, is allow them to come in the space, problem solve, do club meetings, and because of them being in the space, they were allowed to use the 3D printers to develop the prototypes for the prosthetics for Michael's hand. So we worked with them to help them learn how to use the equipment, the 3D printers, the 3D scanner, which brought them to the place they are right now with Michael.
And so something like this is amazing to me because when I was at school, people still did handmade models of architectural things, and they would spend hours cutting things out of wood,
the foam core,
gluing foam core,
painting wood, you name it.
They would spend days. So there's a piece of plastic that comes in here, and then this is heated up. And so basically it melts the plastic and just moves back and forth, depositing melted plastic and builds it up in layers. And you can end up with something complex like that, or something like that could be done in this as well. You know, somebody wants this to put on their desk. There's not really any function to having a pickle rig made out of plastic. But what's exciting about the club is they're actually using this to make something that is functional, that's absolutely vital for someone to, if you're going to get a prosthetic hand. I mean, that, to me, it's like, wow, that's a really great use of this technology.
Hi, I'm Payson McNett. I'm the director of the Makerspace and the Fab Lab in the VAPA department. And today I was helping teach the students how to use the iPad 3D scanner to scan the hand of the young man that's going to get a prosthetic. And then also to help them make a model in the software that then they can print on one of 3 different 3D printers we have in the space.
The students and I learned about this organization called Enable, where they 3D print parts for making a prosthetic hand for a kid. And it's really a neat thing because these prosthetic hands typically are about $30,000, and the kids grow so much that parents just can't afford to have prosthetics like that. But when you 3D print, it makes it so much cost effective. It's pretty much almost free. So a club at Cabrillo had started a 1.5 years ago. It's called Holding the Future. Most of the students on the club are engineering majors, and they're interested in designing hands, and they've made 3 models already. But what's awesome is we found a local kid named Michael who is interested in being a part of the program because he's interested in engineering. He's 11, and he's interested in having a cool looking hand.
I'm Michael's mother. My name is Brenda. And one of the reasons that we were excited about doing the 3D printing is that Michael was born with amniotic banding syndrome, so he's missing some digits on one hand. He's also interested in engineering. He functions very well, but we thought it would be really fascinating to be a part of this. One, to help the students, and 2, just to have a better understanding of how engineering principles work in a real life situation. So yeah, we're glad to be here.
So like they added supports everywhere, and like you can go around like 100%.
This guy?
Those count? Yeah. Okay, so let's delete this. Okay, and then.
My name is Matthew Robinson. I'm one of the vice presidents in this club, and this is just a lot of things that we've been working on. And we've been helping Michael, who this is a 3D print of his hand that we scanned. He came with us, he's been with us, and as we 3D scanned his hand, and it compiled into about 7 different files as the scanner went around. But then we combined those all into one single file and then printed them all out as his hand. And we're actually using this to guide us in making our prototypes to fit his hand right now. And I've been talking about some fresh prints of some joints that we've been making of fingers. This is what they look like. When we make kind of the joints right here, this is also some prints that we have fresh off of a printer. When we make these joints, we want these to be very rigid. So these are actually made out of a material. This is called, I believe it is PLA. or ABS, I believe. I think these are ABS, and you know, they come with a little surface to kind of help them print, but then they just break off little pieces like that. And these are much more rigid, while these are a lot softer. This is for fitting around his hand, as these are to make the joints much more rigid and stable, like that. And this is essentially how it would go together. Again, we have to sand off some of the material to let them fit a little better. And they have little holes in them right here, 2 holes, one for the elastic, just like the hand, and one for the string, so that as he flexes his hand, the stub that he would have, he can bend by stretching, or by pulling the string and stretching the elastic. But when we file it all down, we clean it all up, and we put it together, this is what it actually looks like, and this is how it would be moving, just like this. And there would be elastic and string going through here, just like in the full hands, and this would essentially fit through his finger. It has that TPU rubber material right here to fit along his hand, and so it would essentially just fit like that. And then we would be taking this hook thing, little guy would go around his wrist like this, or the hook would actually attach to a bracelet, and then there's a little hole right there that the string would attach to. And then as he flexes his finger, or his wrist, and his little stub like this, it would cause the finger to bend, essentially giving him a prosthetic finger. And the 3D material is really cheap, and these things would probably cost less than $5 to make. This is a prototype that we designed last semester. We modeled it basically for advertising and tabling the club, so that people who already have hands, that they can basically just see how these things function, because it can be a little complicated. We have some string routing with elastic of how they work, and basically when you pull this lever, it pulls a string and it causes the fingers to clench like that. And this model has actually been used quite a bit and needs to be some reworking. And this is all stuff that we just had lying around. I work at a bike shop, and I just had this bike brake lever actually lying around, and we had some PVC, some cable, and a block of wood, some screws, and we just put this thing all together. And this is really towards the beginning of our club, and now we're expanding more towards more 3D printing materials. And this is another prototype hand that we had. It used to be just like this little connection piece, but then it broke like this. These are some of the pieces, and so what we did is we actually 3D printed a new one, and we've been working on basically updating our models and connecting them. And right now what we're trying to do is get this piece to fit back into here, but it hasn't quite been able to work. We're still working on trying to get that model to fit and kind of see it extending. It doesn't quite fit all the way. We're still working on, gotta have to sand down some of the pieces.
I'm one of the main original founders of Holding the Future. How we originally started is about fall of 2016. A few kids in Joanne's Engineering 5 class saw a video about a man who was making 3D printed prosthetics for his son at his house. And that was really inspiring to me, especially because I think it's really great how there's all these new innovations and advances in technology and medicine, etc., that are being produced, but I think there's a big lack of being able to get that accessible to everyone, because it's super expensive. Prosthetics are tens of thousands of dollars, and I think it's really important to be able to help the people that actually need it, who usually can't afford something like that. So we started getting this club together and thinking, okay, how can we help solve this problem? And it was a slow process because none of us really knew how to use the 3D printers or how to design on the computer with AutoCAD or anything like that. So we just dove in and one by one started teaching ourselves how to do these things, teaching each other, working together. Started working with a nonprofit called Enable, and they gave us kind of some guidelines, and they have some open source prosthetic outlines on there that you can print. So we started out with that, and we started with the whole hand. And then this semester, spring of 2018, we got into contact with Michael, who was very great because we hadn't ever had an opportunity to work with a real person before, a real hand, a real life problem. And Michael's very unique. Here's a model of his hand. It's just one of his hands. Each finger is different, a different length. And so each one, we couldn't just print out the model that was on Enable. We had to tweak it and in some cases redesign it completely from scratch. So here's the finger that we printed off of Enable, and it's all mechanical. It just works by bending your knuckle like this. And this was a good starting point, but it's not going to fit his hand, and so we need to make it a different size. We've also hit some different roadblocks with the printers. You know, we started printing it out in one material, and then we realized it had to be in a different material. But it's been a really great learning process for us. So it's just overall a really great opportunity to learn about the engineering process and how everyone can get involved. It's in some ways much easier than I had anticipated, learning all the new technologies, because there's so much information out there and so many other people that you can kind of lean on to teach you that it's really not that big of a deal. One obstacle that we've had is just working on getting the models to fit Michael's hand explicitly. So for this hand, he has two fingers that don't exist past the first knuckle. So a model like this isn't going to work because he can't move it, and it's not really going to stay on. So we've been brainstorming some different ways to go about that, and so far we've come up with maybe having a string, that would go down on his hand here, perhaps a glove, or a string that wraps around this way. But we have to just try different things and see what works for him, what's comfortable with him, and go from there. Good tightness. I mean, it's Velcro, you can always adjust it.
No, yes.
You know, so probably what we'll do is put the adjusting part on the bottom so that you can adjust it, you know, when you put it on, and then this will be connected here. What about like when you move around?
No, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, well that keeps it in, and then if it's uncomfortable, we can always just put something under it.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, and then that'll connect to the finger. So looks good. Okay.
To be a little tight.
And we're actually using like a
Use the soft part of the Velcro.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can you just hold this piece down? Basically, this piece just needs to be attached like that, and then this would fit around your finger like that, and then this string attaches
kind of like.
Oh, it's not necessarily made to fit
Yeah.
you size-wise, just so you know. But,
No.
but you're welcome to play with it.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the same thing with your rocket. You have to clean up the inside.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Oh wow, I didn't realize you made them for the other hand too. Okay.
So here, I guess first step is see how they fit. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna go on your finger that doesn't.
Oh
wiggle.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, right there.
Okay, so yeah, that fits.
Cool.
Yep.
What I would suggest
Sure.
is somehow shorten it. Yeah, they would probably cut through a little bit, you know, here,
Yeah.
and then it would be more, because otherwise it's like almost like an adult
Yeah.
finger, you know what I mean, rather than kid finger.
And then let's try these ones and see how it's going.
Okay, so yeah, it fits good.
Okay, and this one? That's pinky.
But again, not being critical, but they look more like adult fingers rather than kid fingers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm realizing.
Yeah, this one's too small.
Too small.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
So let me
It's too
make
small.
some notes.
This is
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure it's in. Cool, and then put that elastic on.
It's kind of, it was.
Still acting a little weird.
Yeah. And there it goes.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. What we did is there was a lot of friction in the joints, and it didn't want to come back very much. It was having that issue.
Okay, it's going down now.
So we took like this little it's a Dremel, it's a little sander bit, and we just kind of sanded down the pieces so that they'd smooth. Yeah, you can just kind of move them around a little bit, get them there comfortable.
This one won't go down like that. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're too long. They're overshooting a little bit.
Okay. Okay, try it now.
Shot of earth coffee and a scoop of
No,
ice cream.
no,
that
not for the middle.
And you can get a scoop of anything you want, you know. So I got like caramel sea salt.
Yeah, I think we're definitely wrapping up. I have to get going for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, like I've said this 1,000 times, but just play with them over summer.
My name is Michael, and I really think that the hands are great, and it's really comfortable, and I really like what you guys are doing, and it's really great for kids like me.